Hey Book Besties, welcome back to the channel, Book Diaries with Ty. I am Taisha. If you are new here, welcome. Get cozy and comfy with us as we talk all things bookish. As you've seen in the title, I'll be showing you my April TBR list. Just a disclaimer, if you're hearing somebody cooing in the background, of course, that's my 3-month-old. I am a mother, and so normally I try to film when he's sleeping, but unfortunately he is fighting his nap, so we're gonna roll with a lot of these books that I have on my TBR. I do not know what any of them is about. I will find out as I read them, or as I go through them. I'll just look, that you guys know what they're about on the back. But every last one of them I'm excited to find out. I do have some fantasies, some romances, some mysteries. I am getting into fantasy books more than anything else because I really want to dive into fantasy. Last month I read more romance books and mystery books, even dark romance books. So I'm excited to get more into the fantasy this month around. So the first book I have is a romance book, and I am picking them up like sporadically. I'm not like going from one genre to the next. So this one is by Lauren Asher. It's the Love Redesign. I've read her Billionaire series, the Dreamland Billionaire series. Last month I read all 3 books. I really love those series, so I'm excited to read this book by her. I love her writing. It's easy to read. Fantastic. I think this is the first book. The second one comes out this July, so I'm excited to see what this one's about. I think this is enemies to lovers. I found that I do like enemies to lovers trope, so I'm excited to read this book. The next book I have is The Inheritance Game by Jennifer Barnes. I have never read anything from her. I'm excited to read this book this month. This is a mystery thriller book. If I'm not mistaken, it's about a girl that she inherits money from this guy that I don't think she knows him. And for part of her inheritance, she has to move into his home with his family that he disinherited. And I think she has to maneuver through like puzzles and different things to get the inheritance. I could be mistaken. You can comment down below if I'm wrong about what it's about. Like I said, I do go into books blind, but reading the back, some of it is a mystery. And this is the first one out of the 3-book series, so I am excited to read this for the month of April. Next book I have is The Thursday Murder Club by Richard Osman. I seen this on one of the YouTube pages that I follow. I was so intrigued by the book. I think this book is about 4 older women that comes together every Thursday to solve murders. That's what their club is based on. I think this is one of 3. This is one of 3 books. I'm excited. They created this to the Golden Girls, so I think this will be a funny read. They say it has a little bit of funniness in it, so I'm excited to read this book. The next book I have, which is a fantasy, and I think it might be a dark romance book, is The Light Lark. I have never read anything by this author, which is Alex Astor. I am excited to read this book. I think that I really will enjoy this book out of all the books that I have. So I picked this up because the cover is beautiful, and I think that I really will enjoy this book. I have no idea what this book is about. The next book I have on my TBR is The Carnival by Stephanie Garber. This is another author I have never read any of her books, but I am excited to read this. I've heard good things about this book. I've seen that people have said this is a must read, so I picked it up. The next book that I picked up was Hunting Adeline. I read the first one. I love the first one. I picked up the second one because I want to finish this book off. Well, finish the series off. I put on my TikTok that I wanted to read this, and a lot of people told me to make sure that your mental's right, you read the trigger warning, and they also said that this book is very heavy. It's heavier than the first, so especially the first part of the book. The second part they said is fine, but the first part, I put a couple of fluffy romances in my TBR for this month, to clean my palette after I read this book, because I want to make sure that I am in the right headspace. So I am excited. I'm very excited to finish out this series. I really love the first book, and I think I'm gonna love this one as well. I think this might be one of my top 5 books of the year. The next book I ended up purchasing is floating all over TikTok and YouTube, and I thought it would be an interesting read. It is The Nightingale by Christine Hanna. I'm excited to read this book. I heard it was a heavy book. It would tug at your heartstrings, but I am excited to try it out and see how I am going to like this book. The next book I have is Love in Other Words. It's a romance book. I am excited to read this book for the month of April. I bought this book to read after Hunting Adeline, so I will be reading this one. Another book I got is Hooked by Emily McIntyre. I'm excited to read this book. I heard great things about this book, so I'm very excited to dive into this story. The last 2 books I have are fantasy books. The first one is One Dark Window. I heard that this is one of the books that you should read if you're trying to get into fantasy, so I picked it up, and I heard really good things about this book. Everybody has written this book as a 5-star, so I'm excited to read this book and start my fantasy journey with this book. And the last book I have on my April TBR is Legendborn. I love this cover. I love how the cover looks, and I'm excited to get into this book. I've really been wanting to read this book since I got back into reading. I was a little intimidated because I hear getting into fantasy is kind of hard, so I was scared to do it, but I'm going to do it more this month. So I'm excited to have this on my TBR. So those are the books that I plan on reading for the month of April. I hope that I could recommend some books for you that you may be thinking of reading, and also follow along with me as I read. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel and come back for the next video. Bye.